Well, veterans had a wonderful opportunity this week to travel to Washington, D.C. for the annual Honor Flight. Now, an Honor Flight is where, for at least one day, Korean War era veterans, World War II vets, also Vietnam era veterans, see all they can see from our nation's capital. The veterans looked like the world's oldest school group in their matching yellow polo shirts and their blue caps. Many of them had never been to Washington before. And while they're in Washington, the men and women visited the memorials built to remember and honor those who served. And of course, these vets got the full motorcade experience anywhere they went. WVUA 23's Chelsea Barton and photojournalist Keith Dobbins flew to the nation's capital as well and spending the day with the veterans. Now, each vet is allowed to bring one person with them on the honor flight. And in this special report, Chelsea introduces us to just a few of those chosen to attend.
The 9th annual Tuscaloosa Rotary Club Honor Flight put nearly 100 West Alabama war veterans in the nation's capital. With them, many brought their spouses, others their siblings or friends. But a few paid tribute to one of the most precious relationships out there.
It's super meaningful, you know, to be able to do this with your grandchild.
We spoke to several children who were able to come on the trip today with their grandparents, and one thing they all had in common is they say this will be a day they'll never forget.
It's pretty cool for me to tell everybody that my granddad served for our country.
I am so happy to be here with my grandfather.
Vietnam Army veteran Bill Bird chose to bring his 13-year-old granddaughter, Mary Rose.
Nobody around but just us. So we could just hang out today and have a good time and let her learn about their history and see the things that a lot of people in our country never get to see. And I just wanted to experience it with her. And I'm very honored that she came with me.
Charlie Thompson brought his 2 grandsons, Evan and Andrew.
It is extremely special. Both of them have been pretty interested in Pop going to Vietnam for years. They have Pop's memorabilia on their wall at home. So to get a chance to do this with them is about as special as you can get. It really is.
The children soaked up parts of our nation's history.
Soldiers from everywhere came to fight. And a lot of them are volunteers, a lot of them are draftees.
And learned heartbreaking sacrifices made for their freedom.
And he had a wife and a little baby back home that he never got to see.
These guys may be little in size, but were impacted by this honor flight opportunity in a big way.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Angel.
Every chance I get to listen to one of his war stories, I do. And it's just really, really awesome. I just love him so much, and I think he's so amazing. And he's done some amazing things.
But unforgettable time that we've had together.
It is a day I will always remember. I'm really glad you made it back, Pop.
Oh, I'm really glad you made it back, Pop.
They were
That
precious.
is a day that a lot of those folks will never, ever forget.
Me included.
Yes, a big day and a very moving experience. I want to hear about what happened when you all touched down in Tuscaloosa. We saw Washington there, but when you came home, I know a lot of local people were on hand. Tell me what that was like.
I bet 1,000 people were at the Tuscaloosa Regional Airport to greet these veterans when we got back. We actually were able to get off the plane first to get in front of the crowd and get shots of the veterans coming out of the plane. And when we stepped off that plane, I mean, there were just folks everywhere. People had signs with their veterans' name on them. You would have thought they'd been gone for a really long time. But it was just so awesome to see the families and loved ones excited that their veterans got to go on this trip, because many of them either had never been or maybe hadn't been in several years. So to see these families so excited for their loved ones, oh, it was so awesome. I got emotional a few times yesterday in Washington, but that really, at the end of the long day, just kind of made it flow. It was so sweet to see how loved those guys are.
Yeah, and great to see them being thanked by our community as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, not all the people out there were family members. Some people just came out to show their support and thank our veterans for their service.
Great story. Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.